Why don't you back up your computer? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. Some time ago, I posted a recommendation for a specific backup program, and it got me to thinking about backing up in general. It's a very common topic here on Ask Leo for very good reason. Not a day goes by that I don't hear from somebody who could have avoided a serious problem by having taken a backup. So, why don't you back up? It's tempting to think that you're lazy, but that's honestly very unfair. We expect computers to just work. Unfortunately, that's just not a realistic expectation. Computers aren't toasters or coffee pots that work fairly consistently without much thought. Those of us who have used computers for any length of time know better. Not because we're any smarter, but because we've experienced catastrophic data loss at some point or another. We know better because we've been burned. Until you've had that gut-wrenching experience, you haven't seen that the inconvenience of backing up pales in comparison to the disaster of losing precious data, like irreplaceable photos or the documents you've worked on so long and hard. All of a sudden, backing up doesn't look like such a bad idea. So, how can we prevent you or anyone else from having to go through that experience? I'm not sure we can. I honestly think that this is one of those cases where there is no substitute for living through that painful experience. Hopefully only once. All we can do is be ready with solutions so that it doesn't have to happen again. In an ideal world, none of us would have to worry about backing up. In a truly ideal world, data would never be lost, hardware would never fail, and we'd never accidentally, permanently delete something we would need later. Needless to say, we don't live in an ideal world. But there might be an opportunity to make things better. The fundamental problem here is that users, you and I, have to recognize the issue and proactively take preventative action. What if we didn't have to? What if backups were baked in? What if installing the operating system on your new computer included a true, fully featured backup solution instead of the typically crippled or hard-to-use application? What if, like choosing a password, you couldn't even complete initial setup without having done something to address the risk of data loss? Something better than enabling a recycle bin. Something more complete and robust than Windows System Restore. What if every computer came with a backup hard drive or a free and complete online backup service? Now, I have to acknowledge that the Mac's Time Machine is pretty darned close. It still requires user initiative and getting a second hard drive to set it up, but it's a step in the right direction. Even OneDrive's backup feature, while an unmitigated disaster in many respects, at least pays lip service to the concept. But it is a disaster, and it is still no replacement for a real backup. Bottom line, of course, here is please back up. I know that I get repetitive and maybe even annoying about backing up here on Ask Leo, but believe me, it's with very good cause. Not only have I experienced data loss myself, but I've also experienced how easily a backup can save my bacon. If you saw people needlessly lose important data as often as I do, I think you'd understand that this is a much larger issue than most people think. So, if you are backing up, what solution do you use? What do you think the average user should do? And if you're not backing up, why? For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/3388. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.